I heard Jerry DePaolo is in charge of our free throw shooting.
I was a pretty good free throw shooter in my day.
Not bad. All right, what you got?
Why was there a security guard on the court here at the end?
I didn't even see him.
Oh, okay.
That's standard. It's required by the league. When referees are reviewing a play, we're asked to have somebody standing on the court. And you'll see it in many games if you start noticing it.
They won't let me look at the play though.
They wouldn't.
No, I guess that's a rule too.
They kept putting seconds back on the clock. Was it Jordan basically complaining about that, or?
No, I just think that's what happens at the end of games. I mean, because those little tenths mean a lot.
Yeah.
So what do you say to guys at that point? Just keep it cool, try to stay focused, Marcus, like get these free throws, because there's not much strategy, you know.
No, there is actually. I was trying to decide whether I wanted to make or miss.
No.
See, if you make, they can take the ball out of bounds if you're up 3, and they can actually run a play. If you miss, they got to kind of heave it. But you got to be a riverboat gambler to be only up 2 and miss. I told him to miss the one though. Once he missed the first one on the one series, I told him to miss the second one.
Yeah.
Because we were only up 2.
That was the last.
And he made it. Only Marcus could make the one that I told him to miss.
That was the last series of shots he had.
I don't know which
I think
series.
it's the second. I think it's the second.
Second to last. I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes into this, like, because you can throw it from out of bounds the length, but you can't throw it on a miss, really, right? Because the game's over, they got to shoot it.
This was your historic 20th win, but I guess it was tough to get, wasn't it? This was probably one of your toughest victories of the season, right?
They're all tough, Jerry, man. This has been the strangest deal I've ever been involved in. I've never seen a team that plays so much to its competition. Now, if they play good, the one thing we fight is teams have no fear of us, so they're going to play, and they actually have good players. You know, if they didn't have the injuries, they'd probably be one of the top 4 teams in the league, in my opinion. Like you had Justin Kier and Ian Boyd to that group. They got good big people. They're big, strong. They got a good team. So again, like the hard part in this league is everybody's got pretty good players, and on a given night they can beat you. They just can't win every night. Remember, I've said that before. They can't win every night, but on a given night they can. We had the game in pretty good hand, and then we went stale and got down 1, right? And then we came roaring back again, and then we tried to give it back again. You're trying to make me 110, I guess.
Sincere made the big shots at St. Bonaventure, you know, in a hostile environment, and he missed some big ones tonight in a better environment.
In fairness to him, he played too many minutes. You miss usually when you're a little tired. Like you can't shoot 19 for 33.
The second chance points and the offensive rebounds, it seemed particularly bad tonight, but it seems like an extension of a little bit of a trend with offensive rebounds from opponents. What do you attribute that to? What I guess, because it wasn't really like that in non-conference, was it?
I mean, the league's better than our non-conference, but that's not really. I mean, Bailey was sick, so he didn't rebound at all. Mike Hughes had a little foul trouble, which hurt us, and Marcus is a really good rebounder, but he's not a very good box-out guy. I mean, as simple as that. He gives up a bunch of them. And if Jordan Miller goes left one more time and we, let him go left, I'm going to jump off the, I don't know, what's one of the best bridges, the Fort Pitt Bridge. I mean, ridiculous. Like, just beat us left consistently.
You did have some success doing the diamond press, though. Sincere said he kind of was pushing you towards that. Do you feel like you can keep using that a little bit more?
I like it. This wise man told me that I'm playing with house money. You might as well be aggressive. And we're good at it. We're pretty good at it. But the problem is we get a little tired. So that's why we kind of play like this. But I like it. I mean, if I'm gonna go down, I'd rather go down super aggressive than super passive. That's just from my personality. But it helped us. It opened up the game. Even at the end, they turned it over. Now my assistant said, get out of it, and I really wanted to stay in it. I mean, just to try to muck it up. And one of the reasons I used it tonight was, if you look at their assist to turnover ratio, they're one of the worst in the leagues. They have turnover problems. Now, they're a good offensive rebounding team, but they turn the ball over. And that's why I think we're good at it, so.
Maceo came out aggressive, but also he seemed like
Sensei, it was his idea?
he
No,
said he was
said
pushing
they were trying
you.
to- They were
I
trying to
got you.
convince you.
Hey, we'll say that's true. But the good thing is, it's always my fault when it doesn't work, and it's always they take the credit when things go well, but that's the way it works, right? But it was good, I liked it. We have to do more of that, we're a little predictable. I think it's better for us. How many turnovers did we force, 20?
Yeah.
You should win a game when you force 20 of them.
What does it mean to you in your third year to get to 20 wins and to get back-to-back 19, 21 seasons? Did you think it would happen this quickly, or it's, I guess, still hasn't happened the way you want it to happen yet, right?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. So I have really high expectations, so I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. We should have won 20 last year, in my opinion. But I love the fact that our guys are resilient and tough, and I think when we went down 1 to that night after we had about an 8-point lead, that kind of typified how our guys are. Their back went against the wall and they fought again. So look, what is it, Dave? 3 times in 48 years?
That's exactly right.
It's a pretty good accomplishment, I would say. I mean, I told you all along that Duquesne couldn't have had 45 bad coaches or whatever, 9 bad coaches. It was systemic, right? It was a combination of a lot of things. And had that system, if it hadn't changed, I wouldn't be sitting here. So when I took the job, I felt like the risk was way less than the reward. So am I happy with 20? Yeah, I'm happy with 20. But remember, I told you too, I didn't come to Duquesne to finish in the middle of the pack. And I don't want to sound arrogant, because it's hard to get to the top. I've never worked so hard in my life. But 20 wins is pretty good. And I don't know, how many winning seasons in the A-10?
It's only like the 6th, 7th.
Not many, right?
Yeah.
So, pretty good.
What is it about this team? I mean, there's some talent there, obviously, but what is inside them that, like you said, allowed them to come back after George Mason took the lead?
Well, I think they're not scared of the moment. We've shown that. We've played in some tough environments and played pretty good in stretches. We got a pretty good rim protector. He does a really good job around the rim. We can score a little bit inside with Marcus and Mike. We got a really good point guard, that's good at both ends. And then we have some good pieces that can put the ball in the basket, So are we all the way there yet? I don't think so. But good enough to scare people, and good enough to scare ourselves,
Do you feel like Maceo's maybe turned a little bit of a corner?
Yeah, I thought he played pretty good. I thought defensively he was just, when he gets a little tired, he makes some mistakes. But I thought he was more aggressive. He had more fun. He played a little looser. You could see in practice. He's played better in practice. A little happier.
What?
I give him credit too. To go through what he's been through, man, some guys don't rally back. You see these guys taking leaves all over the country now, right? They're just February 28th, and this guy's been through more than anybody in the country. You can argue, right? You can argue that guy mentally, that's a hard deal he went through, and I give him my hats off to him. It shows a lot about what he's about.
When he's whatever you foresee for him, when do you know he's being aggressive enough? Is it taking the shots slightly contested threes? Is it going strong to the rack? Is it
Just to me, it's body language.
Gotcha.
I can tell. I kind of study body language. I can tell who's kind of doesn't have it and who does by just watching them. know, we had a couple that didn't really have it tonight. I don't know if you were watching, but I was watching. He had good body language.
When you go into a game like this with two really good defensive teams, if you would have been told beforehand that you would shoot 56%, the other team would shoot 52, would you have believed it? Would you take that deal sight unseen?
Well, I really don't like it, but I'm kind of I'd rather see us play great defense, because I know eventually if we play great defense, we're gonna win. We're gonna win big at a high level. I can live with bad offense as long as we're sharing the ball, but I don't really like, until we play great defense on a consistent basis every single night, we won't win a championship. And so, will I take it? Yeah, I'll take it. But if you look at my career numbers, and Dave probably knows them, my record of my teams when we hold people under 70 is really high, like very few losses. But when they score over 70 and we don't score 70, my record's not very good, because that's the type of coach I am. So you have to know what you are, right? It's kind of like the second baseman that has no power trying to hit the ball out of the park. You have to play within your framework.
So you did play good defense. You were out rebounded 2-1. You missed a lot of big foul shots, but you still won. These guys live right.
Now, it's an interesting question. So, Jerry, the good teams find different ways to win. So why'd we win tonight? Because we turned them over 20 times in the press. And then we scored inside when it mattered. Simple as that. Like, we didn't play great field goal percentage defense, which when you press could be a little misleading, because you're gonna be in some outnumbered situations, right? I didn't feel like we gave up a lot there, though. I felt like it was just, you can't give up 100,000 second shots. Like at some point, like you can't survive it. Like that should have been a 15, 16 point win, and like we're missing free throw line box outs. And like at some point, like, you know, forget the technique, just hit somebody, right? Like you have to have enough pride that like you can't let him rebound it. Anything else?